In his backyard north of the city of Idlib, Ahmed Abu Taleb has set up a refinery. A few barrels, open fires and distillation tanks are all he needs to extract fuel oil and diesel. Few workers here have been trained, no one wears protective gear, and fires burn next to tanks full of fuel. Abu Taleb says the risks are worth it. In 24 hours, he extracts 9 barrels of fuel.
We get
the crude oil from the freed areas, or from oil wells freed by the Free Syrian Army. We get it from there and use it here to provide petrol to areas that need it.
The makeshift gas stations provide a lifeline for local residents who struggle to heat their homes. As Syria's civil war has intensified, US data indicates its oil production more than halved between 2011 and 2012. That's mainly due to EU sanctions, says David Butter of the London-based policy institute Chatham House.
The sanctions actually did stop production because foreign operators pulled out. Also, the Syrian government didn't really have anywhere to put the oil. It had limited capacity to put the oil through their refineries and then limited storage capacity when their export options were cut off.
Now, EU ministers have lifted the embargo on Syrian oil coming from areas held by the opposition. The EU's foreign policy chief is Catherine Ashton.
3 types of transactions will now be possible. Imports of oil and petroleum products, exports of key equipment and technology for the oil and gas industry, and investments in the Syrian oil industry.
But David Butter of Chatham House says it will be a long time before the EU starts buying oil from the opposition.
Most of the oil is under the control of various other groups. Most notorious, of course, is Jabhat al-Nusra, which has an al-Qaeda connection, and many other groups. So there's no sense that they're centrally controlled by an opposition body with which companies in the EU could actually do business with.
Syria has denounced the EU's decision. Before the uprising, the IMF estimates that oil exports accounted for a quarter of government revenue. Abid Mayele is governor of Syria's central bank.
I
don't understand how the European Union can give these terrorist armed groups the right to export oil from Syria to Europe. This is money laundering. This is stolen money, and these are stolen goods.
Meanwhile, as Syria's economy continues to suffer, primitive refineries are springing up in backyards across the country. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.